Awesome. Alright. How's it going, everyone? I am IBAALLDAY. Some call me Eva or Iva, but you can call me whatever. I'm going to be running Kingdom Hearts 1FM on beginner. It's going to be an 80% run. So basically, we're going to be beating the game with the minimum requirements, and with this game especially, there's going to be a couple worlds that we're not even going to touch. They're just going to remain question marks, which you'll see once we get into the run. And it'll also kind of have implications on something a little bit later on in the run as well, which I'll gladly discuss. But without further ado, this run, even though it is on beginner, it is still pretty tough to go fast because it comes down a lot more to your technique. And later on, as we start to get to the mid and later portions of the game, it is still possible to die, even though we are on beginner. The nice thing with beginner as well is we get a lot of early game power-ups. So we're going to have some strength boost and defense boost as well, along with an accessory that gives us an experience boost, which is going to help us get some levels pretty quickly that we'll need down the road. But in this game, the levels aren't entirely too important. We kind of just hit them as we go. But without further ado, we'll get started here in 3, 2, 1. And since we are on console, and we're not on Xbox or PC, we get to sit through a wonderful about 3-minute opening cutscene. It's non-skippable on PS4, PS5, but on the PC and Xbox, you're able to skip the opening cutscene. So for the next 3 minutes, get to hang out. If there are any donations or anything, or want to talk more about what No Kid Hungry helps benefit,
I've been having these weird
now is
thoughts
going to be a good time for that.
Like,
All
is
right.
any of this for real or not?
Well, I will talk about No Kid Hungry. As I'm sure you've heard today, this marathon is benefiting No Kid Hungry, which is a charity with a mission of ending childhood hunger. All the money that is raised is used to provide meals for children in need, support food banks, community groups that serve the areas in need the most. No Kid Hungry provides emergency grants and expert guidance to schools and local community groups to feed kids. The donation link can be found in chat.
Is that better? I can also turn my TV down another notch. Cool. Yeah, so as we're getting closer to starting things up here, everything is RTA wise. On PC, they do a loadless timer since each PC kind of has its differences and load capabilities, and among other things, even with like the higher end PCs. So a PC, they do a load remover for their timing, whereas console is still RTA. So once we skip this cutscene, once we're able to actually start skipping, It's going to walk us through the basics of the game, and then it's going to hit us with choices that have different effects on our starting stats and overall what our abilities are that we learn throughout the game. So we're going to be choosing staff. So selecting staff, no matter what you select afterwards to sacrifice, will give you 3 NP to start at the game. If you select sword or shield, you end up with only 2 to start out. And on beginner, we do use a lot of magic. So that's why we start with the staff. And we sacrifice the shield because defense isn't really all that important, since I can pump myself up with defense ups at the start. And on top of that, early game's not too important for having to worry about defense. Plus, if we sacrifice sword, we lose out on a strength boost right off the bat, which then all our damage output in physical attacks will be greatly reduced. And once again, all the abilities that we learn as we level up is based off of the selections that we did at the start. And so now, just again, continuing on with the basics of opening chests, interacting with stuff, breaking stuff open, just to kind of get you acquainted with the basics of the game. And for the most part, we are going to be utilizing air combos as much as we can, because air combos are a lot quicker and are a lot easier to buffer into another attack, whereas ground combos, you kind of have a slight delay before you can kind of continue on with another attack. Plus, 1FM, the biggest difference between 1FM and all the other KH games, air combos are very superior, and once you get really good with your air combos and can get into the faster rhythm of air combos, you'll basically be able to start doing a bunch of air combos where you're not even really, it looks like you're not even leaving the ground, but you're still getting enough height to be able to actually do a combo. So here we have a shadow fight here again. This time we do need to kill all these guys. And with the selection that we made on our choices, our first 50 levels are quicker for level ups. So that's why the selections that we did there at the very start with the 3 folks, Titus, Waka, and I think her name's Sophie. Those choices have an effect on how fast we level up. And so we want those early game level ups because it helps us get the quicker level ups that we need for the strength boost especially, and also certain abilities that we need later on, such as scan, among other very useful abilities. So all those items I mentioned, the strength boosts and the defense ups, we're gonna pump ourselves full of those, and then we have Dark Side 1. This fight's just gonna be 4 air combos here to do the fight. I like to pop the potion as soon as the fight's done, just so it's out of the way. Any potions that we get along the way, we just go ahead and get rid of, because we're not going to have any use for them at all. Whereas ethers and mega ethers and elixirs and all those are going to be our valuable items. So now we're just on Destiny Islands here, doing a bunch of errands for Kyrie. So we'll have a small bit of downtime as we go about this. There's not really a whole lot to really walk through. It's just a bunch of mindless chores as we get set to really start diving into the game itself. Oops. So I'll pass it off to the host while we kind of go about collecting stuff.
Hello, host here. I don't have a lot to say right now. So, I hope everyone is enjoying the marathon. It's the late night for a lot of you. It's not quite so late night for me right now. Barely past midnight, so kind of chilling. Again, exclamation point NKH for the donation links. The schedule, if you want to check out what's going to come on over the next 4 days. Other various links.
Alright, so we're on to day 2 of Destiny Islands. So again, collecting more stuff for the ship. For Kyrie, in a casual playthrough, you actually had, without looking things up, you would have to go talk to Kyrie to actually know what stuff you need to gather up, but we already know what we're gathering, so we don't really have to worry about talking to Kyrie until we absolutely have to get a thing of, or to get a bottle, to get water. Hitting that coconut right there, or not that coconut, but hitting that tree there drops a coconut, which we need 2 green coconuts. And so there's a chance that that tree there will drop a coconut that we need, and basically it's called the task tree, because the probability of ever actually getting that in a run is so low because you only get 1 swing at it. So if you get extremely lucky to have 1 drop, definitely be counting your blessings for that day, because it does save a little bit of time, because then you only have to get 1 coconut after the fact, once we actually have to go to those trees that you see over there behind the sailboat there. So now we're in a little race here with Riku. We're doing this, and we want to win it so we can get an item called a Pretty Stone. The Pretty Stone is going to be sold later on, once we get to a world called Traverse Town, when we go about selling our items. Because we need to get a total of 1,250 money by the time that we need to purchase some items later on for our gummy ship, which is going to be our mode of transportation between worlds. And there's a couple items that we need for our ship to improve our movement, and the Pretty Stone helps get us a little bit of the way there. They are worth 100 money, and it's just quicker. You only have to run it once. You could run it multiple times, but it is slow to run the Riku race multiple times. So now we're hitting this tree here in hopes of seeing these green coconuts. Again, only need 2 of those. It is RNG, so unfortunately that was a little bit of a bad RNG for the coconuts there, but it's the nature of the game, unfortunately. There are some aspects like that do come down to pure RNG, and it's just unfortunately out of your control, so you just gotta do the best with what you are given. And that was the last of the items that we needed to get to end day 2. Which Kyrie's going to give us another high potion here after she tells us about this little charm that she's making. For those that played Birth by Sleep, the charm, if you've never played KH1, the charm will look very familiar to what's called the Wayfinder. And that's kind of like the big time thing in the game, like all the generations, in the sense of the main characters have some form or another of that. And it's basically like a lucky charm. They'll always be able to find one another no matter what. So now we're getting into the fun stuff. We're going to finally get our actual weapon, which will allow us to actually start hurting the Heartless. Because this little wooden sword, you can't do anything to the shadows there. So now we're going to head back towards that door there. Couldn't access that door until we went towards where Riku was at to get our Keyblade. We're going to get blown out of the water here in just a moment. And we're going to be fighting Darkseid once again. We're going to see Darkseid a total of 3 times in this game. And for those that have played through the series, Darkseid kind of becomes a bit of a meme since we see him quite a lot. And with this fight, once again, we're just doing a bunch of air combos until he's done. On Proud and I think level 1, the strat there is a little bit different. You want the little attack that Darkseid's doing. You kind of have to change up the timing of your hits so you can deflect his little lasers, which they do more damage to him. But on beginner, we don't really have any need to try and do that because we already do so much damage. But now we're on to Traverse Town. We're gonna run into some shadows once again here. Sora's gonna flip out and be like, "Oh my gosh, these are the same creatures from the island," and we're gonna take out 5 of them. Right now I've only taken out 2. Okay, that's plenty. So the reason we need to take out 5 shadows there is in order to trigger the next flag to continue through the story. You have to have taken out at least 5 shadows. And nobody actually knows that info other than people that run, of course. Otherwise, for a casual, you're basically just taking out everything or wondering why nothing's progressing. And so now we're going to fight Leon here. We're going to do a 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and a full air combo. And again, because we have all those strength boosts pumped into us, we're able to kind of take him out relatively quickly. And so, unlike with like 2FM and other KH games, there's certain cutscenes in this game that we can't skip until certain points. And like with that cutscene, we can't skip it until Riku's eyes open up. And there's a few cutscenes that you'll see later on that are completely unskippable for whatever reason or another. Because originally in the English version of KH1, back on the PS2, all the cutscenes were unskippable. But they did a nice little change when they did the FM versions and allowed for some cutscene skippage. Because there are quite a few cutscenes that just run so long that you're just sitting there forever if you end up dying, having to wait for the cutscene to be over so you can actually do the fight. And we're on to our world boss, known as Guard Armor. We're taking out at least 3 soldiers along the way because we need to hit our next level up before the boss. Otherwise, we won't have a strength boost and we'll be dealing less damage than what we would like. And so with our strength that where it's at right now, these soldiers only take 2 hits to take out, but if you can combo a timed full air combo with the finisher, you're able to take out a second soldier with that finisher. So here we're just trying to get the limbs all taken out as quickly as possible. Ended up getting another potion, so gonna pop that. right now, Guard Armor's immune, and unfortunately, Donald's out of MP, so I really gotta hope that we can end this fight, which thankfully we're able to. Because Goofy has an ether on him that, since Donald depleted all his MP, there's a very good chance that Goofy tosses that, which puts us in a very bad spot early on. Because we're gonna go into that ether from Goofy when we get a chance. And so that was the end of Traverse Town, our first visit of many. All these text boxes we kind of have to mash through. We're not able to skip them like we can in other KH games. So we do have to mash through them. A vast majority of the higher times that you do see, the runners run it in JP because the text boxes are faster to mash through versus English. I think it saves like a 45 seconds to a minute. I don't remember the exact value of it. Stock that. And so now we have our movement that we're going to be utilizing for the entire game, called Dodge Roll. Dodge Roll is basically our only good movement that we have until we get Super Glide, but we don't get Super Glide until basically the very end of the game. So our only movement is Dodge Rolling. So right now, we're going to basically be doing our only glitch/clip in the game for this run, known as the Waterway Clip. So in English, we're able to access this area early as soon as we see a Trinity mark on the ground for the first time. For whatever reason, it allows us to go through the bars that are there. You have to do it pretty much immediately after it gives you back control of Sora, otherwise the bars become solid and you have to wait until you learn how to actually activate the red Trinities, which allows us to get Earthshine, which is a summon for Simba. We won't be able to do anything with that until our second visit, but it cuts down a little bit of time on doing it this way for English. The other route would just move on out of this world. They go to the accessory shop and warp out and move on to Wonderland, which is going to be our next world. But here for us, we're going to be taking a bit of a detour to get stuff set up that will cut down our second visit time just a little bit. It's kind of interesting. I mentioned like Super Glide and everything being kind of our best movement, but unfortunately don't get access until the end of the game. But seeing some of the stuff that you can do in randos for one of them is very interesting. You can get basically, we just call it like Super Gliga or Super Gliza, and it's just multiple copies of Super the same port as the Xbox version, so I believe that they can't skip it there as well. So that's the only other cutscene that is unable to be skipped by them, aside from a big one way later on in the game. Gonna have some more text boxes here, and then we're gonna move forward and lock on and do a bunch of target switching and light up all the enemies there with fire. Everything's gonna die to one fire, so it's gonna hopefully be rather quick. Especially if Donald helps us out, but Donald was not a good boy and did not exactly help us out, but it's alright. So the Queen wants you to collect evidence. There are 4 evidence pieces, but we only need to collect 1 to continue on. And in order to get the Heartless, we need to see which one is the first one to hit the ground. So in this case, I believe it was the second one to the right. Oops. This one right here. Yep. So you have a 1 in 5 chance of guessing correctly, but the trick is being able to see which of the 5 boxes touches the ground first. And it's ever so slightly, so you have to pay very close attention to the boxes as they drop. And with Crank Tower, we have to time our hits a little bit with how we're doing things, because there's 3 cranks on there that don't have any HP value. It's just based off of spinning it enough, and you can destroy all 3 pretty quickly. After that, the tower itself doesn't have an actual target, so unless you manage to hit the tower again, you won't be able to lock onto the tower until you've managed to hit it. So it can be a bit of a pain because the cards can kind of make things very rough with trying to get the tower if you were unable to get a hit beforehand. And so Wonderland's kind of one of the shorter worlds in this run, aside from another world that's going to be coming up much later. So we're going to light these 2 little lamps here, which is going to allow us to continue the story and get to the boss of this world known as Trickmaster. And we're going to do a neat little trick here. If we move in a particular way, we can not spawn the Heartless, which allows us to access that latch. Otherwise, you'd have to take out the Heartless before you'd be able to access the latch there. So with Trickmaster, we're not going to be using the table other than to launch ourselves here. We're going to do a full combo. And then after that, it's just a bunch of 1-2s while getting as much height as possible so that we can hit the bottom of Trickmaster here. Otherwise, you could use the table if you really wanted to. But if you time your jumps, you can get enough height to hit the bottom of Trickmaster's hitbox and be able to do the fight that way. And that was a really good fight. It can go even faster if Donald and Goofy are hitting Trickmaster as well, because for some reason they do a rather hefty amount of damage for some reason. But even then, it takes a few hits to knock Trickmaster down and a full combo, just rinse and repeat until he's done. Cheshire Cat there is nice enough to give us our second magic of the game, Blizzard. In a casual playthrough, if you were to gather all 4 pieces of evidence, he would gift you Blizzard early. But again, since we don't need to gather all 4 pieces of evidence, we don't get the blizzard until after we finish up the world. There's only going to be one magic in this game that we will not be accessing, and that's going to be Thunder. Thunder is in Olympus Coliseum, which is one of the worlds that we will not be visiting in this run, as it is not required to continue on in the story. And once again, we'll have a little bit of downtime, so I'll pass it off to the host once again.
Awesome. Thanks to Geyer, I'm so sorry for the big raid. Welcome to all the newcomers. If you're just joining us, as a reminder, this is the SpeedGaming Spring Marathon benefiting No Kid Hungry, which is a charity with the mission of ending childhood hunger. The donation link can be found in chat, !NKH. I am the third person to link it. Thanks for helping us support a great cause. You can also find more information that is also linked in chat, as well as the list of prizes and donation incentives. The next donation incentive is your Breath of Fire to get a boss gauntlet, and that'll be at 9 AM Eastern, so just like 6 hours from now. So you donate and write the incentive in that list. And welcome everyone to No Kid Hungry.
So the Savora fight that we just had there, it takes 6 total hits on beginner to take him down, and then that just ends the fight early. It's just a hit, well, not really a hit requirement, but it pretty much is for physical attacks. And now we're collecting slides early. We need these 6 slides to present to Jane, so that we can continue on with the story here. Right now, Donald and Goofy are separated from Sora, which we meet back up with them. Donald's rather upset with Sora because Donald didn't really want to go to this world, and Sora's like, but my friends. And Donald's like, no. So we get the slides presented to Jane here, and then we're gonna go through all the slides for a little slideshow. And then after that, we're gonna have our first little save warp. So we're gonna go back to our gummy ship here and go back into Deep Jungle. This is faster than just moving to the jungle tunnel, because where we're going for our next flag, this is much quicker to do versus having to do a bunch of acrobatic stuff. So then we're just going to drop down here and we're at our next checkpoint. Otherwise, if we were to go the way that the game actually wants us to go, we'd have to do some vine tricks, which is explained right there. And you see, I didn't mean to fall. And when you see the little text saying climbing trees, you're able to actually jump off the vine and it'll put you into the next loading zone. It's a little bit quicker versus having to climb all the way up to the spot that it wants to actually access the next loading zone. And with that minigame there, I didn't get quite a chance to quickly explain. So the minigame in itself will take you to here, but if you just quit out of that minigame for the slider, you're able to just drop right in. And now we're being ran rampant with monkeys known as power wilds here. A couple blizzards will take them out. We're going to be taking on a bunch of these little creatures. And once again, going to be doing a save warp because it's faster to get to the next area we need to access. And the save warping comes in handy on PS4, PC, and of course Xbox. On PS3, we wouldn't be able to do the save warping because the load for all that takes a lot longer on PS3 and also PS2. But with everything on PS4 and PC and Xbox, we're able to utilize the little save warping there to cut down on our travels while we're moving about the world. Go ahead and pop this ether now. I think I ended up getting another potion, so I'll have to find a spot to toss it. Any miscellaneous potions that we get that end up coming into our possession, we try and find a spot to get rid of them because we don't want them chilling in our inventory at all once it's time to really do some big time menuing with our items. Because it just takes up the space in our stock and it just eats up time trying to menu to our ethers and all the other items that we need over potions. Oh, still got a straggler. It's alright. And Power Wilds, unfortunately, can go one of two ways. Well, one of three ways, I guess. They can either go really well, really bad, and Goofy's in our way. Goofy just blocked us being able to get out of there. Or they're kind of so-so. Because unfortunately Power Wilds is a big RNG aspect. You'll never see the same Power Wilds back-to-back times. And with Sabor 2 here, we start off by dodge rolling back to give us some space to be able to do a bunch of fires until we deplete our MP. Because then it makes it to where we only have to get a few physical combos in to be able to end the fight rather quickly. And doing it that way kind of allows for a fairly consistent way of fighting Sabor 2 versus kind of giving Sabor a chance to kind of just run rampant, do whatever. There's still that chance because it is a little RNG as to what's going on. So we can't save warp this time around. We're going to rescue Jane and Kerchak. Because this little fruit here is preventing us from being able to do a save warp. And so we have to go that way, and I'll actually activate the little mini game there. That would be a vine, which allows us to skip over having to do the actual vine process. And that cutscene there is another unskippable. It's just a very elaborated text box. And so now we're off to fight Clayton. This first fight takes only 6 hits. If Donald does a fire, it counts towards the hits. So if Donald ends up doing a fire after you do a 1-2, then you can quickly follow up with a full combo to end that first phase. And so here we're not going to be doing any finishers, we're just going to be doing a bunch of quick 1-2s as quick as we can. Better runners, you'll see them not even really leave the ground with their 1-2s. It's so insanely fast. I'm still not to that point yet, but we're still able to bust out some pretty quick air combo chaining there. There is a little animation skit that you can do with the chameleon. I haven't quite gotten the hang of that yet, so I haven't been trying to do it in runs, especially for an event. And so now, everybody's favorite part, which is also a bit of a reset emphasis for a lot of runners, is Waterfall Cavern. The camera is very janky, and we're trying to do a little skip here, which is not quite working. There we go. Waterfall Cavern, unfortunately, is a big reset point for a lot of runners because of the jankiness of traversing through there. You can't really turn the camera all that much because it's very compacted. And on top of that, some of the ledge grabbing can also be a little janky, which is why it took us a couple tries there, because I didn't quite get to the ledge to be able to ledge grab it with Sora, but it's alright. That was the end of Deep Jungle, so now we're going to be heading back to Traverse Town to run a few errands in order for us to be able to progress, because now we have 2 Navi G pieces, which is going to allow us to move on to our next world, but we have to get back to Traverse Town, so it is going to be a little bit of backtracking, so we are going to have a decent amount of downtime. So once again, I will pass it off to the hosts for any donations or anything of the sort.
I'd also like to remind everyone that we have prizes. You can, I believe, hardware. You're going to need to donate during the preceding 24 hours, such as the 8-bit dough controller. Or for the Perlers, you'll have to donate during the associated game or any time after the previous Perlers deadline. However, if you cannot donate for any reason, which is perfectly fine, there are also other ways to enter, which you can find linked in chat. Also, I discovered that I can make Twitch polls. This is new knowledge.
Yeah, for a lot of runners, going between Deep Jungle to Wonderland to Traverse Town, with good chances to take a quick bathroom break if you need to. It is fairly early in the run, but sometimes having a little too much water, especially, but anyway, there's certain little points that you can just basically set your gummy ship at and just let go of the controller, and you don't have to worry about a thing for the most part. Going from Deep Jungle to Wonderland, you have to kind of take the controller with you and hold down the fire button, because those other ships that we saw do have cannons on them, so they can attack. Whereas like these ships don't have any weapons on them, they just are there. Another fun little thing to point out with 1FM. Gummy ships or gummy travel actually has very difficulties to them. So playing on beginner, we don't really take all that much damage in our gummy ship, so it's not as scary. But once you start getting to standard, proud, / level 1, that's where gummy missions can actually get a little scary. And on proud mode, especially running that kind of ship, if you collide into the wrong thing, get hit by the wrong thing, you will instantly die. There isn't any scaling for the gummy ships, gummy ship travel or missions in 2FM or KH3. So it's just kind of playing on crit. The damage output is the same as if you're playing on beginner. So Sid here gives us a little book that he wants us to take to Merlin. That book is for 100 Acre Wood, which we're not going to be going there. And right now we're selling... Nope, don't want that to be sold, that'd be bad. We're basically selling everything in the kitchen sink but the elixir and the white thing, and also that mega ether I have. And then we're doing another save warp here on JP, or depending on how you have your routing for English. You wouldn't be able to do this save warp that I'm doing, but you'd have to do all the stuff that I was doing in our first little visit, just now having to deal with enemies along the way, which isn't as big of a deal, but it's just the small little differences in some of the routes that are out there. I think this helps save a little bit of time in comparison to the other route. I'm not 100% sure. And so while there's no Heartless in this area, we're going to go over here, hit this little switch, which is going to give us quick and easy access back to the first district. Otherwise, if we don't hit that before we go into here, there's going to be Heartless in that area, and we won't be able to touch that switch, and we'd have to go the long way to get back to the first district. And again, just a bunch of text boxes talking about Maleficent, which we see here for a brief moment. Sid's going to tell us what he actually does as an old timer. And so we're going to go see Sid now, back in the first district, and that 1250 money that I was talking about, we're going to go pay a visit to him. He's also going to go and install the Navi Gummy that we had obtained from visiting Wonderland and Deep Jungle. And he's also going to give us a warp drive, which we already got. And so here we're going to buy a Fire G and a Haste G, both which are an engine and an item that is like a mini boost for our engines. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. And so yeah, we're going to install those on there real quick. Just 2 to the left to get both of those on there. And that's all we're doing. We're going to warp drive over here, because even though on the screen that little wormhole looks closer to Traverse Town, it's actually further away from Traverse Town. So we warp to Wonderland to backtrack to those warp hole, because it is in fact closer in distance from Wonderland than going from Traverse Town. And we're now making our way off to Agrabah. This Haste G allows us to get a mini boost, which is going to enhance our movement for gummy travel purposes. And later on, we will be taking that even further, to where a lot of stuff is going to seem out of place because we're flying through it so fast that enemies and other things on the screen are going to get a little discombobulated for a moment, but it's all going to work out. But we do have a brief moment as we're making our way to Agrabah for any donations or anything from the hosts.
Awesome. For those just joining us, this is the SpeedGaming Marathon for No Kid Hungry, a charity with the mission of ending childhood hunger. No kid hunger, childhood hunger. My speaking skills are without match, I'm telling you. No Kid Hungry is a charity dedicated to providing meals for children in need, supporting food banks and community groups that serve areas that need it most. They also provide emergency grants and expert guidance to schools and local community groups that also help feed kids. So any donations that go towards this stream will be helping out kids in need. Donate link is in chat.
So we're now making our way through the streets of Agrabah here. Big thing with Agrabah in our little early endeavor here, we want to make sure to touch that save point before we head on out. Because we're going to be doing some save warping, which is very massive on PS4 and Xbox PC versus PS3, where, again, save warping is just not an option. And so right now we're fighting some bandits. We're just going to be doing a bunch of blizzards, trying to get as many grouped up as well. In hopes of having a really good fight, which that actually was a really good fight.
I see.
And there's actually a couple well, there's only really one other method. Oops, got stuck on the fat bandit there. That's the actual name. So the other strat that can be done is called the Simba strat. We could summon Simba there if we really wanted to, but it is a little bit slower than doing blizzard spam. It's also less riskier. Sorry, I had to train of thought with my menu. Oh, got black fungus. So we're never gonna fight black fungus because they have way too much health. No, Aladdin! That's a bummer. That's the downside to having Aladdin, but there's a lot of upside that I like to having Aladdin. It is slower to do all that with having Aladdin in your party versus just keeping Donald and Goofy. Keeping Donald and Goofy in your party. But on Proud Mode, and level 1 especially, Simba is definitely utilized in that fight because they do die instantly, and it's a lot quicker on Proud Mode for that strat versus doing the Blizzard strat, and it's also safer. Now we're going to try and rescue Jasmine here from Pot Centipede. Kind of let Pot Centipede kind of get assembled here, or not. Aladdin's going to ruin that for me. Hopefully it puts itself back together. Okay, maybe. Alright, well, it looks like we're fighting him in this first room, which is going to be a bit of a bummer, but it's fine. This has only happened a couple of times to me. So we don't want to try and kill Pot Centipede in that room, because we want him to barrel through this room so that we can get access to the next loading zone, because after the kill, we're able to get into the next loading zone over here, which saves a lot of time versus having to travel all the way through that loading zone to get to this loading zone to get to the desert. And so Tiger Head has been possessed, so we need to knock some sense into him. So we're going to quickly dodge roll up the side here and try and get onto the top of his head. Do some one hits on the top of his eye here. Do that so I can make it a little bit better. I'm just gonna do a bunch of 1-2s here. Oh, back on the eye, or the head. Falling off Tiger Head is a big bummer if it happens. And not getting up onto the top of the Tiger Head is also a bit of a big bummer. Because if you're not able to get to the top of the Tiger Head immediately, it is a little bit of time before you're able to actually attempt to get up on top of him. And we can't get to the next area until we take out this little pillar. It's blocking us from getting to Jafar. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to show off a cool one-cycle strat for this fight. It is a rather tough fight regardless to hit, but man, it feels good when you do pull it off because it does save a lot of time. Except for when I do that. Another fun fact in this game, camera angles in one of them when entering loading zones are everything. I've almost lost a few runs that way, and I have a funny story for that later on. So at the very start here, we're going to dodge roll up to Jafar. We're going to do a quick jump with an air hit. Get back up there immediately. Do a hit, blizzard, full combo. 1-2. Nope, that's unfortunate. Alright, just going to have to make it work. Okay, this is fine. So the backup to manipulate Jafar into doing what we want is we roll to the opposite side of the map, and that allows Jafar to go back to the original starting slot, which allows us to kind of keep control of the fight. It was a bit of unfortunate there. That we weren't able to stagger him in his bubble before he kind of got away. If we were able to do that, we'd be able to have a chance at a full one cycle, which again does save a lot of time if you're able to pull it off. And so with Genie Jafar here, we're going to open up with a bunch of blizzards. Oh, I went too far away. This is bad. This is fine. So I accidentally went back first, which is a bad thing, which we're probably not going to be able to get a one cycle here now. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to have to do a bunch of blizzards on Jafar. That's why we wanted to do the blizzards at the start far versus having to do it there because Iago has a better chance of getting away because the lamp, which is also part of the fight, isn't knocked down enough health-wise by the time that Iago gets over there. It was a good recovery. Bit of unfortunate, but it's all good. So here, we're going to actually get ourselves killed. It's going to save us a little bit of time escaping the Cave of Wonders. This trick was found by Spike Vegeta, who's going to be doing a 2FM randomizer run later on in the event. He was the one that discovered that you could actually get yourself killed early and not have to do the entirety of the Cave of Wonders escape. Basically, he's like, I wonder if this would be possible. And it was definitely possible in like standard and crowd, but the question for the longest time was whether or not if you could do it on beginner, which it is. It is a little tighter on beginner. You do have to hit a certain amount of rocks, and also basically hit everything else after that that does damage to you, in order to get yourself knocked out early. And that's it for Agrabah. Chip and Dale are going to talk to us for a brief moment, along with Goofy. We're not going to actually go to this warp hole. We're going to be making our way to our next world. And for those who haven't played the game, I'll say Halloween Town, but there's going to be a plot twist. That plot twist comes in the form of a giant whale, aka Monstro. So Monstro will appear regardless of which way you go. We go this top path because we are going to be going to Halloween Town over taking the other route, which would take us to Atlantica. And that's because Atlantica is a lot slower in terms of the length of the world, the fighting capacity of the world, and just a number of things that make Atlantica extremely slower versus going to Halloween Town. And again, Atlantica is not required for us to progress through the game. We just need either Atlantica or Halloween Town once we're done with Monstro in order to continue on through the game. In which we'll touch up a little bit more on that later. But for now, we're going to get eaten by a giant whale. Have a couple quick fights. Monstro is a rather quick stop on our way. This world, it's about 7 minutes long, give or take. Maybe less than that. So it's a rather quick visit. The other thing with Monstro too, Monstro, even if you touch save points, you don't have access to those save points if you were to leave Monstro. You would just get swallowed back up by Monstro and have to start at the starting point that you're going to see us at once we do load in. And on top of that, you also have to deal with the animation of Monstro coming in, eating you, all the fun stuff. So we're gonna go check up on our boys Geppetto and Pinocchio. Pinocchio's been kidnapped and wants to also play, but we're kind of on a serious mission, and Riku's like, I'll play. So we're gonna end up chasing Pinocchio through a bunch of chambers in Monstro. There is a chamber skip. I think it's called the Chamber 2 skip. I'm not going to be trying to do that at this time. basically the way the trick works is you have to take the angle into chamber 2 at a particular way and immediately swing back towards where the chamber 2 exit was at, and then from there, if you manage to get back into the hole without falling all the way down, you're able to do a jump, which cuts out a couple chambers and loading zones. I think it saves about 10 seconds. There's not really any harm in trying it at least once, but for those runners that are able to succeed in hitting it, if you missed your chamber skip, then unfortunately it is going to be a time loss. Riku did some damage. It's unfortunate. So this fight is just a bunch of air combos on Parasite Cage. Our finisher is able to just stagger the Parasite Cage, so we're just able to wail on him until he's done. Riku can do damage to Parasite Cage as well, but if the party members and or Riku start doing a little bit too much damage, it can ruin the stagger on Parasite Cage, as you saw there, which we don't want that to happen, because if Parasite Cage is retaliating, it slows things down big time. So we're going to throw on our other Keyblade here, known as 3 Wishes, for a stat boost. And also throw on High Jump, which is our first shared ability. There are 4 shared abilities in this game: High Jump, Glide, which we'll get later on, and Super Glide, which we'll get way later in the game, and another ability which we won't be seeing. I think it's called Aqua Fin? Not 100% sure. So once again, Parasite Cage 2 here. I like to dodge roll back because I'm not good with the quicker opening. And just same thing here. We'll fix it. Just want to do a bunch of air combos here. Hope Donald and Goofy don't touch the head. If Donald and Goofy are hitting the head as you're doing finishers, the mouth will open up, which is a big no-no. It will make the fight move a lot slower because you have to do a bunch of 1-2s on Parasite Cage at that point, because if you do a bunch of finishers, the mouth will immediately close back up, and it becomes really hard to try and stagger him again. So we were able to do a pretty good job there getting control back on the stagger. Again, the really fast air combos can help with like having a super fast fight where, again, it looks like you're not even really leaving the ground. But we're going to pay Monstro a quick visit, actually, now that we're done with that world. We're going to be grabbing a chest that has a summoning stone called Water Gleam. Water Gleam is going to allow us to summon Dumbo, which we won't have access. We're not going to have access to Dumbo until a couple worlds later, which we're going to be doing a couple tricks with him that are going to skip a decent chunk of areas that we would otherwise have to go through. And I think overall it's about a minute and a half of saves. Versus going through the pathing like normal. Yeah, so we're back real quick. We're gonna hop up here. Go ahead and get that stone. And now normally, there's a menu that can be done. I need to do said menu for the Ray of Light before I forget. The Ray of Light there gives us a +1 to our MP, which enhances the strength of our magic, such as Stop, and a bunch of other stuff. and of course gives us more MP for using magic. This gummy trip is a very short gummy trip from Monstro to Halloween Town. The intended spot for Monstro was on the bottom path, but we're able to put Monstro wherever we want. And so we're gonna start making our way on through. We're gonna be grabbing a strength up here, but first we're gonna trigger this cutscene, which we can do just by jumping up towards where the gate is at. It's a lot quicker to do it that way. We're gonna do a quick little ledge grab there, get ourselves a power boost. Excuse me. And we're gonna go pay a visit to the dock. Afterwards, we're gonna get a forced menu for a party. We're gonna leave Donald and Goofy in the party because Jack is of no use, unfortunately. Whereas KH2 would be definitely using Jack, but Jack does have a purpose, and that purpose, of course. Wow, I've got 2 potions. Holy cow! It's a good thing I had to do that. Ooh, not discard. That'd be bad. PP, yep. And Hurricane Blast. That's it. I didn't have to do the stuff for Donald yet, but I did anyway. Normally, you could throw on MP Haste and Hurricane Blast back at Monstro, but we can save that menu for here because we do have to do a menu anyway for the strength boost. So rather than do multiple menus, just do a bigger menu here in Halloween Town, get ourselves enough distance to take out all the enemies there with blizzards. For most of the enemies, it is going to take just a couple blizzards to take them out. And we're going to go back to the dock. We're going to have another failed experiment with the heart. And then we're going to find out the real villain of Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And of course, Oogie being the ultimate mastermind behind everything here. Poor Oogie, doesn't really get a chance to fully shine. He's just kind of our personal punching bag. The 2FM especially, he's a big time punching bag. The fight is very long, but nonetheless, Oogie's just our friendly little punching bag. So here we're gonna go ahead and blizzard both of these white knights, and then we're going to attempt to do this skip. Cool. So if we land on top of those tombstones there, we're able to get to the second one and not trigger the other Heartless in that area. 4, 6, 4. We're able to not trigger the other Heartless in that area, and much like the little trick that we did in Wonderland, we're able to do that same trick with the grave there. Hopefully that's the only time that we see those black fungus here. There's still a chance that we could very well run into them. Hopefully we won't, because that would be very bad, as we'd have to go back, and it also wastes a lot more magic. I also forgot to toss an ether during that, which is unfortunate. But Lock, Shock, and Barrel, I'm gonna yoink this heart from the dock and give it to Oogie. Oops. I was trying to shortcut an ether, which you can't shortcut items in this game. Now we're off to the mansion where Oogie lays. Nope. Bummer. So if you see blue text there, that means that you've unfortunately gotten black fungus. And we have to leave the area and load it back up. It does cost a little bit more magic to do. It's fine. We'll make do. Just... Oh, Donald, that's a big yikes. So I don't have any control over Donald using certain magic, such as Stop. So if Donald casts Stop on a group of enemies, it could be very bad because the enemies are stopped in time, which means any damage that we do is delayed until after the effects of Stop wear off. So they cannot be killed prematurely, or not prematurely, but they can't be killed even though we've done more than enough damage to them until that timer runs out on the Stop. So now we're going to do a fun little trick. Basically, I don't remember what it's called exactly. But basically, there's a bunch of stuff that we're skipping inside the mansion, and also dealing with certain other aspects of this climb. That allows us to do a quick little mana climb there to get to this fight. And we're going to take out the children. We're just going to use Blizzard here and hope and pray that we get good RNG. 1, 2. Oh, we got all of them. Let's go. Oh no, we didn't get all of them. Now we did. That was rather good RNG there. You want to hope that Shock, Lock, and Barrel are kind of kept under control. It's another fight that is very RNG dependent. So we're fortunate enough to have a good sequence with the kids. Gonna trigger that. Gonna take Ray of Light off for White Fang. I already have air this on. That's okay. And we're gonna make our way to Oogie. This fight, there is a quick kill method. It is a little tough to pull off as well. So Oogie's gonna, after we do a damage phase on Oogie, Oogie's gonna throw explosive dice, and then he's gonna throw regular dice at us. And to do damage, we need to go to one of these lights that are lit up. We don't want Donald and Goofy coming with us if we can help it, because Oogie damage is based off the number of hits. You get 10 hits total, which count towards party members also, so that's why we don't want Donald and Goofy interfering. Ah, almost got it. Thankfully we got Heartless, so this will be a quick manner to handle. Cool. Kept Donald and Goofy away from us. If you're able to get the full dice reflect and get all 3 dice reflected back to Oogie, you're able to access the switch again, which allows you to be able to get back up to Oogie to finish off the fight. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of the dice. I think there's 2 numbers that give you Heartless, which we're very fortunate to get the number for Heartless because it's so much quicker than dealing with any of his other mechanics. But now Oogie has bunch of little boils that we're gonna go pop as soon as I can get on to the manor here. We're gonna do one hit and do a full air combo after that. I'm gonna have to do this a little interestingly here. If we're lucky enough to deflect a fire ball back into... Oh, that's unfortunate. But if we're lucky enough to deflect a fireball back into the boil, we're able to immediately take it out. Almost did what I did the other day. And the other day for my practice, I ended up hitting the one spot. Not a good climb, but Oogie Manor fight, considering we fell, but we were able to recover fairly good, all things considered. But that little spot that has the mouth shape right there before the second to last boil, I managed to miss the ledge and fall in between the small opening and fell all the way down. Which unfortunately ended up being a massive time loss because of the fact that I had to climb all the way back up. But that's it for Halloween Town. We're gonna hopefully make our way to Neverland, which is our next world on our endeavor. And I say hope as in a 70% chance. Hope because hook ship with only completing either Halloween Town or Atlantica, and not completing both of them, gives us a 70% chance of actually seeing hook ship, which allows us to actually go to Neverland. Those odds do not stack, they don't increase. Every single time is a 70% chance, and let me tell you, a lot of times it feels very low. So here's the hoping. I don't remember what the record for misses are, but I've heard stories of someone missing hook ship like 10 times in a row in a single run. So it is possible. We'll know if we hit it here. If these guys here to despawn, which they did, thank goodness. Let's go. Cool. Alright, I'm going to pass it over to the host real quick, because I'll have a moment before the next thing, but I'll have a moment here. So I'm going to pass it off to the hosts.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you, Proton John, for the raid. Welcome in, everyone, from John. This is the SpeedGaming Marathon for No Kid Hungry.
You don't say.
We're about halfway into IBAALLDAY's Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix any % run. So plenty of this run, plenty of marathon to come. If you'd like to donate to help end childhood hunger, which is what No Kid Hungry does, along with supporting community groups and food banks, you can find the donation link in chat. There are prizes, there are perlers, there are incentives to donate for if you'd like to comment that in your donation message. And yeah, thank you for stopping by.
What is it, Tink?
Oh, Goofy's in our way. Alright, so our first fight in Neverland is honestly a very annoying fight. Anti-Sora is the same height as Sora, of course, which makes doing air combos really tough. Thankfully, we were able to get a good start here. We're going to be utilizing Stop here. There are certain enemies that you can stop that are not immune to stops here. Fortunately, Goofy can be a bit of a pain in this fight, because if Goofy starts pushing Anti-Sora, it could be a bit of a problem. Oop. Healed. Actually going really well for the air combos, I should add. This is where, like, runners that are really good with, like, the quick air combos can really excel. There is a way to skip the cutscene a little bit sooner, but wasn't quite listening. We have our first big menu here. Not treasure magnet, second one. We're going to throw on Tornado and Cheer for Goofy. We're going to remove Pan's first 3 abilities. And we're going to do MP items. To instant for Pan, because our strat that's coming up is going to require a big item dump from Peter Pan, who has a bunch of ethers. And we're going to be utilizing a nice little stop loop coming up on Hook. First things first, we need to make sure that we actually get rid of Donald in this forced party. Otherwise, it's going to set everything crazy. We're going to go ahead and summon Simba right at the start of this fight. And we're going to hold this burst once he's in for just a moment. We also get our first real look at our summons. And we're going to do a full charge after that to get rid of this wave. And we're going to do a full charge to get rid of these air pirates, and then get immediately on this air pirate and not do finishers until we get him super low, because we just want to stagger without doing finishers. And now immediately after this, dodge roll over once, let Hook jump over, full air combo, stop, and we're just going to loop this the entire fight. This happened in my practice too, where I had a weird stop situation. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I had a weird instance with one of my hits whiffing, and kind of got set up in a weird spot. So we weren't able to do a full stop loop, but that's basically the general idea of it. There is a way to insta-kill Hook from the stop. I don't remember how many stops are required to kind of do that and the looping for it. So I just stick with the full air combo, stop, into the full air combo. There is a chance for the pirate ships to kind of be a bit of a thorn in your side. those little missiles that they shoot can heal Hook a little bit. So especially on Standard, Proud, and Level 1, those missiles are especially crucial to make sure that they don't get to Hook. There's always the chance that it will happen if you're extremely unlucky, but most of the time it's not a problem. But that's it for Neverland. I might fall off there. We're now going to throw on our second shared ability, known as Glide. Okay, I'll turn it down again. Please, one click. There we go. Yeah, sometimes the input register, the inputs can also be a bit of a big time audio issue. Oops, no, don't want to do that. Okay. Gonna go back to our ship here. Land in the accessory shop. And we're going to move on to getting Traverse Town locked up. I'm going to try to not spawn any enemies, but I can't make any promises that I will be able to do that. And the reason for using the fire there, I'm kind of taking a different pathing because even in all my practices, I couldn't get the other ads to not spawn, so I'm going to take this way just for good measure. Going to use an Ars Arcanum here. Take out all the little guys there. None of them dropped an ether, unfortunately, but it's not a big deal. It's not make or break if they drop one. It's very helpful if they do, but it's not a big deal. We're going to ring the bell here 3 times, which is going to get the keyhole exposed and allow us to take on a familiar face, except with a twist this time. And so, with us doing that fire buffer, and doing that Ars Arcanum, we're able to now have the ability to do 2 full Arses, because once our MP gets depleted there to where the orange mark is, it will refill our MP to that point. We're going to guard right here at the very start, go into an Ars. Hope that he does another lunge. Nope, he's not going to do another lunge. Alright. We were hoping that he would do another lunge because it would make us be able to stagger him again. And be able to launch into yet another Ars Arcanum. That was still a pretty good fight, despite all that. I did have to kind of take a bit of a safer way of making sure I wasn't going to spawn in extra enemies. Because if there's extra enemies that follow me up there, the whole entire set of ads that spawn around that red Trinity mark, they wouldn't all spawn in, and I'd have not extras, but it'd be a little bit slower because I'd have to dwindle not dwindle. I'd have to thin the herd a little bit in order to get more of them to spawn in, because only so many Heartless will spawn in. And that's it for our third visit to Traverse Town. We're going to be doing one more visit way later on. And that's going to be after we go to Hollow Bastion here. We're going to throw on our new engine, which is going to make us go real big time zooming. And then we're going to make our way back over to Neverland for the warp. And then we're going to go from Neverland to our second to final world, known as Hollow Bastion. Now the music for the Gummy mission changes yet again to a more serious tone because things are starting to really go down, which is something that was always incredible that they did for this. The tone's all lively and everything, but as you start getting further in and stuff starts getting to be super serious, they're like, alright, let's set the tone for that as you start to make your way into start to really make your way into the trenches. Do have to be a little bit careful with these Gummy missions now, because some of these ships are very heavy duty. They don't have actual cannons on them or anything, so we're pretty safe there, but we just don't want to go colliding into them because they are hefty and they will tear our ship apart. But we're about to lose our Keyblade. It's gonna be a sad day. We're gonna lose our friends, our power, have everything taken from us. Oops. Skip. But we will have a friend with us who doesn't exactly want to tag along, but he's like, I guess I could have you come with me. Kind of need to bodyguard you, kid, because you can't do anything. I'll make that. It's fine. I'm gonna preset gravity here for later situation. And we don't have to go all the way up there. We can just dodge roll off there to trigger the flag for this next checkpoint. And now we're all alone, other than having Beast by our side. Keybladeless, back to a wooden sword. The simpler times. Except they're not so simple, because now we have to rely on our party member here to do the work for us, as we will see here coming up. The only thing that still kind of works, and the only reason it works is because it's an HP based attack. It's not any it's not fully stat based. It's just based on it takes a percentage of their health, and also it smashes them down. So we're gonna get a look at gravity. We're going to be using one on this enemy that's coming up. And Beast is going to take care of the rest. Hopefully Beast takes care of it in one blow, because Beast has some very valuable ethers on him, which we're going to be needing way later down the road. So if he ends up using too much MP, there's a chance that he could use that and it'll be bad. And that puzzle back there, not really so much a puzzle, it's very straightforward. On the way back, it is a little more thought to it because we do have to do it a certain way. Oops. Got a preset, gravity, and Beast did his job in one blow. Awesome, love to see it. Oh, I'll let you grab. Yeah, this game is definitely a lot of folks' childhood. I know this was definitely mine. I played through this countless times in middle school, and even more so when KH2 came out. But coming back, that puzzle only takes 2 of the switches to get out of there. I'm going to do a quick touch of the save point to make sure I'm at max MP. For our upcoming fight, I'm going to get revenge here on Riku for taking our friends, taking our weapon. But first we're going to dodge roll all the way over to this little corner here. Wait for those dart balls, I call them meatballs, to start fading out before I move towards the switch. That way they're not going to move on over towards Sora, so we can get out of there, because anytime our command menu is red, we can't interact with chess, we can't interact with anything. So now we're going to take on Riku. For the first time since Destiny Islands. This time he's been powered up a little bit. We're going to hope Goofy does his job, and keeping Riku under control here. This fight is very RNG as well, because Riku can kind of soar around all over the place. If Goofy's not shield blocking, we run into the situation where, unfortunately, Riku starts running rampant like that, and we're not able to really do much for Ars Arcanums. Oh my gosh, Riku. I'm gonna go ahead and burn this ether, because Riku's just being a big pain in the butt here. So this is the part where I'm talking about like Goofy doing his job. We want Riku to stay under control like this, because then we're able to kind of do our job and wailing on him, but fortunately Goofy didn't really do much to help us out. So Riku's just kind of all over the place. Gonna leave our party the same here. Head on into the library. Just gonna grab 2 quick books. Or, I take that back. We're gonna grab 3 quick books here. First one's very straightforward. Just gonna allow us to progress a little bit further into the library, because we can't progress any further until we get to the top layer here. Gonna yoink this book, which is used for something else, but we're not gonna be doing that at this time. There's a more elaborate puzzle involving all the books, which gets you a very valuable item. That item's used, I think, in a different category. I think it's also used in the extended categories, but I'm not 100% sure. Just do some quick target switching there. It's quicker to just jump and do the fires, because you're also moving along the path of where the candles are, which progresses you as you're lighting the candles. You're moving towards your next little target. Yeah, the music in KH is so well done. Like, the mixture of Final Fantasy and the mixture of, you know, original music, especially in A lot of worlds that are not, you know, not like Winnie the Pooh or Halloween Town or Atlantica. Definitely have quite a few songs on my Spotify playlist that I listen to, especially like covers that people have done for like the Lingering Will fight, the Down at Work fights, and a bunch of other stuff as well. And then I've also got some of the originals in there, just because there's some that I do genuinely like. And we're gonna hope for a little bit of luck here with the Wyverns. Gonna go up to here, get to this platform. This is another one of those situations where we don't want to spawn in too many Wyverns. Need you to come over here, bud. Thank you. There is a better method of handling these Wyverns. If you do, I think, a stop gravity, there's still Wyvern. There we go. But if you do, I think, a stop or gravity on them, it's easier to handle. It is a little harder because you do have to manually do gravity and a couple other things, but it does help get rid of them a lot quicker. So, fun story time, which I'll talk about after this section. We're gonna end up having a fight coming up as soon as we get to about halfway on this Heartless Sigil. There's gonna be 3 wizards, 1 that's gonna spawn in front of us, and 2 that are gonna spawn in corners. It's just gonna be a triangle. We're gonna hope that the boys help us out a little bit, so that way they don't run. Doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. Okay, got a little bit of help from Donald to kind of keep them in place. Alright, so, the fun story time. In my last PV that I had, I lost time because I was facing this way, but had Sora facing this way. So the whole thing with camera angles in this game also applies to this elevator. And I unfortunately learned the hard way as soon as I spawned out of there. That to never again look out in that general direction in first person, even though Sora is still facing the direction that I was looking. I dodge rolled off the edge. Thankfully, I didn't have to redo the fight, but I ended up losing about a minute overall because I had to take the elevator back over in order to get back to where I was just at. So I still have a minute of time saved in this section if I just simply don't do that again. That's a bummer. I ended up going under. This is big yikes. Do this again. I ended up going a little too far and ended up underneath the ledge, which bought too much time for them to get caught up. There we go. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pop a mecha here. Cool. Oops. We're gonna do. Oh, Donald just doomed us. I just had the very scenario that Miss Master was talking about the other day. So Donald gravitied the ledge there, which is a big no-no. So we're gonna try and save this fight by Can I get target locked on her? Thank you. Donald! Oh no! Alright, well, this fight is not going according to plan because Donald just screwed us twice. Alright, well, that really sucks that we had. I'm gonna just have to break this. That was really unfortunate. So, the way that fight's supposed to go, we hop up onto the platform that Maleficent is at. We do 3 air hits, and we then follow that up with an Ars Arcanum, which allows us to loop Maleficent's attack and be able to one-cycle her without her disappearing. Unfortunately, Donald gravitied there, which is a big no-no, and it just ruins the entire fight, as we just saw. And I'll explain this after. Nope, I'm just gonna take a quick death here. So what we're trying to do there is do a 1, 2, 3, 4, or do a full air combo. Do 2 air hits into a stop. Unfortunately, on the one sequence, I was a little too low to the ground, which caused my stop to not come out. And we'll give it another quick try here. And then we just want to try and loop that this entire fight. There we go. So after this next boss fight, we definitely will have time for a quick dono. Just because we definitely will have a little bit of downtime after that. But we got one more boss to get through for our first visit at Hall Bastion. It's going to be coming up here in probably like the next 15 seconds. But yeah, that's how that Dragon Now fight is supposed to go. If Goofy especially helps with doing tornadoes, it makes not needing to do another stop a lot easier to manage. If Donald's also using gravities, it does help a little bit, but it basically just comes down to being able to do that loop that whole way. Now we're going to fight Riku once again, except he now has a bit of a tune-up. We're going to start this fight off with a quick 3-hit air combo, going into an Ars until we get hit, which is fine. It's fine. Just gonna do another Ars. And here I'm going to just do ground combos to play it safe because the air combo strat is very risky. We're going to do 1, 2, finisher, 1. Oh, bummer. It's fine. Everything was kind of off, but it's fine. We'll be able to recover here. 1, nope. Okay, alright, we're getting DM'd again. Alright. It's not going exactly how I thought it was going to go. Come on, Riku. Oh boy. There we go. One. And you want to time out, when he does that, you want to space out when you do your third hit, first hit after. Because if you do it too soon, he won't stagger. If you do it too late, he won't stagger. The air combo strat is a different number of hits to get him to stagger again, but it is much faster. My air combos are still in a work in progress, but it's still possible to do. It's just very tough to pull off. So that's why I played a little bit safer with doing the ground combo there. Alright, we're going to be turned into a shadow. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to the host as we make our way out of here.
Awesome, thank you. We have a $20 donation from Anonymous. It says, "Happy gaming, right parenthesis." That could be read as a smiley face, if that's what you'd prefer. And personally, I did not grow up with Kingdom Hearts, so there are a lot of words here I am not understanding. And I do not believe Donald really deserved to learn cheer after throwing that fight, 2 times? But, you know, what can you do?
Tell me what happened.
So that's it for Hall of Bastion 1. We get ported back to Traverse Town. We also, for anyone that does watch 1FM runs, we managed to do, it's not really, it's just kind of more of a meme in the 1FM community. But we were able to do a cutscene skit called Bonkless. entire trip back to Hollow Bastion. This was actually, I believe that this was also discovered by Spike Vegeta. He accidentally died during this gummy mission at a certain point, which was then found out that you were able to access Hollow Bastion without having made the full trip. So then it became a fine science of how far into this do you have to go in order for it to act up. So as soon as this changes to this color, I give it kind of a brief moment to buffer in because I don't know the exact timing just yet, and I've actually done it just a smidge early a couple times. You wait for the background to change colors to that color, and you're able to exit the gummy trip, and voila, we're back in Hollow Bastion, even though we didn't make the full journey. And we're going to keep Beast in our party this time. Donald's going to take a seat on the bench. There's no cutscene this time, so we are going to be actually making our way all the way up. Oops. Alright. A little difficulty. But, we're going to be performing our second Dumbo skip. This one is a little bit trickier. So I'm going to have Dumbo, well not Dumbo at the ready, but I'm going to have my summon at the ready. I'm going to dodge roll up just enough to spawn them in. Immediately get to that ledge, summon Dumbo, and we're going to quickly ascend this pillar and dismiss Dumbo. And we're going to get out of here in a hurry. This is going to allow us to bypass having so many enemies to deal with and being able to access this elevator immediately. If you spawn in too many Heartless, you have a chance of one of them following. If you're too slow on getting Dumbo summoned and getting out of there, you also have a chance of them following you, which if they do fully follow you, then it's going to be a really bad time. So we're going to go ahead and equip Oathkeeper here. We're going to throw on Leaf Bracer. We're going to take off Ferocious Lunge, throw on Critical Plus. Goofy Tornado is coming off, and we're going to be giving Goofy MP Rage, MP Gift, and Second Chance. Donald gets Leaf Bracer and that. Soar's Stop now becomes Gravity. And now we're set up for our next boss fight, and pretty much what our setup for the most part is going to be the rest of the game. We're going to hope Beast does his Roar. If he does his Roar, which he did not do, Beast Roar is an AoE, which kills everything within the AoE range of his Roar. And it's very, very good when he actually does it because it gets rid of pretty much everything that spawns inside this elevator immediately. Otherwise, you kind of have to chase a couple Heartless down and whatnot. We do need to hit this Dumbo skip though, because if we use up too much of our MP, Beast is going to more than likely toss us an Ether prematurely, and we don't want that to happen because we're going to be needing Beast Ethers for our next boss fight. For our second visit to our second visit to Hollow Bastion here. So this skip is still the same. Just gonna dodge roll a couple times, summon Dumbo. Get quickly up in the air. And Dumbo only goes up so high, so you just gotta hold button long enough to get up to the max height that he can go up. I was a little bit further away, so when I dismissed, so I kind of had to glide to make sure I got that ledge grab. just gonna jump over that. I normally just dodge roll the whole entire way there, but I got hit in one of my runs by that defender, which ended up resulting in me miscalculating how much health I'd be able to tank an attack, and ended up dying, unfortunately, very late in the fight. We're just gonna do 1-2 and do a full arse. Do another full arse here, even though like we're kind of in the air. We want to try and time our dodge roll if we can. Oop. This is fine. That would have killed me if I didn't try to heal there and try to dodge roll. So it's a good thing that I just did a heal instead. And we're going to finish up this fight with... Never mind. No, we're just going to wait. Alright. And now we're going to be hitting the unskippable cutscene. That was a pretty solid fight, pretty solid second visit. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this, and I will be right back.
We may never meet again, but we'll never forget each other.
No matter where we are, our hearts will bring us together again.
Besides, I couldn't forget you, even if I wanted to.
What's that supposed to mean?
Hurry! Come and close the keyhole!
Sora, good luck.
Alright, so the princesses are going to talk to us. They're going to give us Fyraga. Sorry, not Fyraga. Once we're done talking to them, we're going to have one quick menu here. We're going to be replacing Ray of Light with Omega Arts. Oops. I'm going to board our gummy ship. And our last journey within our gummy ship, which is also the most dangerous, especially on Proud mode. These big Omega ships, the white and red ones, pretty much can one-shot you if they manage to collide into you. They're still especially dangerous on beginner because it's still possible to take too many hits, and those hits add up real quick. But they do have a certain pattern that we can loop for the most part to avoid getting hit by them. So we just kind of do like a giant square of sorts as we're going through there, because the Omega ships will only follow to a certain point. They don't heat seek you or anything. No cutscene there until we walk out. We're gonna get our first look at some rather annoying enemies called Invisibles. We're gonna go ahead and use gravities here and follow up with an Arse. Unfortunately, this one didn't quite get the message to come into the gravity, but that's fine. We're able to quickly dispatch of them. And to kind of close the distance on where we're going next, we're gonna move towards some of the treasure chests here, because it will cut down the distance that we need to traverse through here. Our next enemy is going to be Angel Stars. If we're quick enough, we only have to fight 3 of these things. Fortunately, we might end up having to deal with another one. Nope. Cool. That's the chest. We want towards that. And before we get to the next fight, we're going to quickly pop a cottage. Or, not a cottage, a tent. No, it is a cottage. Thinking different game. So, after the Hollow Bastion behemoth, this one is weaker to gravity, so we're gonna hit it with a few gravities there. I'm gonna kind of take shelter. This might be a bit of a problem. Yeah, a lot of the gravities didn't hit. It's fine. We can get up here quickly and just do another Arse to make up for it. There is a chance for that second behemoth there to actually drop another Omega Arts. If that does happen, Goofy will end up getting the second Omega Arts because it does give a strength boost, which it doesn't make a super big difference for Goofy having it, but it is noticeable enough. We're going to go ahead and replace Raven's Claw here with Ray of Light. And since we did not complete Olympus and Annika, in order for us to progress in 80%, we have to go to these portals to do a quick Heartless fight. And for this OC portal, we're going to go ahead and summon Simba once again. And we're going to charge, do a short little charge before releasing. Release, do a full charge. That kills everything. And then we're just going to full charge it the rest of the way. We got one last wave here. Gonna go ahead and dismiss Simba. And we're out of the portal. And the game won't let you progress until you have dealt with those portals that you haven't been to for the worlds to close the keyhole. So this next one is Atlantica. I'm gonna do a bunch of fires on the jellies. Gravity. Both of these big guys. Oh, he didn't get gravity. Fortunately, they're being a little stubborn. And you want to make sure that you see that flash before you leave that portal. If you end up not seeing the flash as you're trying to leave the portal, you will have to redo the fight. Get a stop here real quick so we pick up that Mega, replenish our MP. We got our Hollow Bastion portal here. We're going to take a few steps forward. We're going to target switch, do a bunch of gravities again. Hopefully... Nope, this one's DMing. That's fine. Gotta be very careful here because they can get a little too close to the portal and you can end up accidentally going out. Fortunately, they didn't quite cooperate, but that's okay. Can do another gravity. So that we can get out of here. And we're gonna fight Chernobog. On Proud Mode at level 1, XP 0 would be on and Mushu would be used in this fight, but we don't grab Mushu. Plus, Mushu wouldn't do anything on beginner. And here, we're just trying to do a bunch of quick 1-2-3s without any finishers if possible. Because we want to try and deal as much damage as we can before we get pushed back to try and have a quick fight. Pretty solid damage. You definitely want to be seeing a decent chunk of that green bar if you can. A really good Chernobog fight, you'd be deep into the green bar already. Gonna go ahead and heal, because that's gonna hurt. I could tank that one. No! Kept ducking. Being a bit of a pain here. That's alright. I got stuck on him. After the fight, you want to try and fall down to the bottom of this volcano, because when the fight's done, it'll automatically put you into the next loading zone. And now off to everybody's favorite part in a run, Final Rest. The make or break of all runs, where dreams come to die, dreams come to happen, everything. Gonna dodge roll back up. Do one hit into another arse. Gonna glide right on over to this spot here to get set up. And once this wave starts, we're gonna do 2 fires to each of the meatballs here, aka dark balls. For my own sake, I like to dodge roll up a little bit because there is a chance that they will despawn. And after you kill the last one, get quickly up to where the Heartless logo is. Have Donald and Goofy up to where you're at. We're going to try and do some gravities here into an arse. Beautiful stuff. Once the last invisible is down, immediately go into summoning Simba. And we're just gonna do full charges the rest of the way until we're out of here.
Give me strength. Courage. Give me strength. Courage.
Now, last wave, it's nice to hold it just a little bit longer to be safe. That was a really good final rest. Go back to that because I gotta give Goofy this. I'm gonna be throwing Raven's Claw on. Goofy's gonna be getting a White Fang and the Ray of Light. No, I don't want the Mega. Oops, this menu kind of weird. I've had to use some extra items, so my normal item setup is not where I would have it, but that's okay. And Donald gets nothing. I already have it all. Alright, I have been putting in, I'm hoping my practice pays off. I've been putting in a lot of work into final fights because it's not as strong for me in this game compared to some of my other ones. So here's the hoping. So our first fight is with Ansem 1. There's two openings. The first one is either this attack or this attack. I'm gonna wait for him to attack and hop back and start going into a bunch of air combos. We want to keep Ansem back in that corner if we can help it. Him doing the disc attack honestly is kind of like one of my worst attacks to deal with because I haven't really been able to get set up entirely with it, but we'll make do with it. We're just going to be doing a bunch of air combos without finishers for the most part. And we want to keep him in this corner. When Ansem does come Guardian, we're going to immediately go into an Arse without extra hits, dodge roll back to try and keep him in this corner. Here in a little bit, he is going to try and do a move called Submit. But it's coming right now. Fortunately, Donald and Goofy are both out, so I'm going to heal, because they kind of got beat up on a little bit. And it's fine if I get submitted here, because I can just go into an Arse to finish out the fight, because I'm not at the mercy of his attacks while I'm doing that, at least through the first portion of the Arse. Okay. And now Goofy, for our final menu, Goofy's going to get Tornado on. I give Goofy second wind as well. And that is our final menu. Here, I'm just doing a bunch of air combos without finishers. Unfortunately, got cut off in the hand here. We're gonna have to try and make up damage. It's fine. It's good enough. If we don't get the quick kill before he fully raises, we can just do some fires to finish it out. And now time for Ansem 2. Again, just doing a bunch of air combos. After a little bit of damage, he will do Come Guardian and it's just a matter of doing this loop over and over again. I don't want to get submitted just yet if I can help it, because we're going to be trying to do his DM skip, which is rather difficult to pull off. Okay, and now we're at his threshold. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 1, into an arse. Dang it, I did my stagger weird. I rushed the stagger a little bit on the first sequence. That's okay. And gonna just follow up with another arse. Oh, I don't have MP. Oh boy. Okay, good save there. Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get the TM skip this go around, but I have made a lot of headway with that fight lately. Which I'm very proud of, because that was definitely one of my weaker fights when it came to endgame. So answer 3, everything is out in the air. So all of our air combo pluses that we have is going to be big in this. We are going to be tanking a lot of attacks because we do have MP Rage. And we're going to be healing every now and then to be safe. And recasting Arrow to boost our defense up a little bit. This fight is very RNG because of the attack patterns that Ansem 3 can do, and also just lasers in general are a pain. Heal. I did that way too soon. Okay. At the end of the fight, there is a way to immediately get into the portal. Just have to be very careful about doing so, because if you go too early, then you run the risk of not being able to. Oh, whoops, that's artillery. Not being able to see. And now for the next part, artillery. We're going to try and get quickly to the backside of this, get landed, go into an arse. Go to one of the tendrils here, do another arse. Do a third arse. That was actually pretty solid artillery. So now Goofy's gonna be back with us. I'm gonna go ahead and pop an elixir. They're not really cooperating, so I'm just gonna do fireballs to be safe here. Normally I would do a gravity and arse, but they're just staying way too spread out to for me to really worry about doing anything there. Alright, you guys have had your fun. Do one gravity there. Gonna pop another elixir. Should have popped a Mega actually for Goofy. Oh, Goofy had an Ether still. Let's go. So Goofy's gonna hopefully help us out big time with some tornado damage before he dies. That's fine. Heal. And it's just basically doing a bunch of combos without doing a finisher. Have to be very careful. I get a little bit too risky with this fight. Pop a Mega, and then just kind of start replenishing my NP as best as I can. And much like with Final Rest, we're going to do gravities here. Hopefully catch all the invisibles. Nope. I got the one that survived DM'd. That's a bummer. That was almost a really good invisible. It was really close to being a really good invisible section. Just one of them didn't quite commit to coming over with the rest of his friends. I do 3 gravities here and 1 2. And now we're on to Anthem 4 for our final showdown. I didn't mean to do that. I do that almost every time because I forget the arrow's already presetted. And we're trying to get as much damage in as possible. Hope that Goofy also does some arrows. I want to keep Goofy alive if possible. And toss down the Mega, and kind of have triangle spam to hopefully get Goofy to use some more tornadoes. And time's gonna be coming up very... Okay! My arrow ran out at the worst time. That's a bummer. That was really unfortunate. That can unfortunately happen. Just out of the blue, you think you're safe, and then all of a sudden your arrows just runs out. I'm gonna go ahead and cast an arrow here, so I already have it on myself. And let's try this again. Round 2, shall we? I'm gonna recast arrow to be super safe here. That way I don't get a surprise. Really unfortunate that that happened, but still though, very solid run. Despite a couple bad things that's happening along the way. But I hope you all enjoyed the run. It's definitely an incredible game to kind of get your feet wet as a KH runner. When I first started off speedrunning, 2FM was my my first game that I was running. But yeah, beginner even at lower difficulties is still technically a hard run, like from the technical aspect, because you still got to be efficient with everything that you're doing. But I appreciate everyone for all the support on that run. Definitely catching some hot topics and discussing some awesome things with all of you. This isn't the last you'll see me. I'm gonna be back Friday morning, around 6 a.m. Pacific, to showcase one of my special runs that is very near and dear to me. It's a 1.5, 2.5 Super Boss Gauntlet Rush, featuring 26 of the Super Bosses from this collection. And then we'll be back again on the 1st with KH3 for beginner 80% as well. So definitely be seeing me around a few more times, and hopefully all enjoyed the KH run. And let's give it up for our next runner.
Come on!
Great run from IBAALLDAY there. Really good to see Kingdom Hearts. And yeah, we're gonna have Shigan in a couple minutes with Have a Nice Day. So we'll be getting that set up.
Don't give up.
And yeah, don't go anywhere.
We can do it.
Okay,